Hello and welcome to ExtremeHealthRadio.com with weekly radio shows and articles with empowering information designed to give you all the tools you need to take back control of your health and your life. This audio blog is brought to you by the Relax Far Infrared Sauna. This is a healing tool that Kate and I are completely addicted to. It is an amazing tool. It's low EMF. It uses far infrared technology, which allows the heat to penetrate deep into the bones. It increases body temperature, increases your immune system, allows you to sweat out fat-soluble toxins and heavy metals and poisons that you get exposed to on a daily basis. It is an unbelievable tool. Check it out, extremehealthradio.com/sauna, or you could check it out in our store as well. Okay, let's get started. Okay, in today's audio blog, I want to talk a little bit about the stories that we tell ourselves, the stories that we project out into the universe, and the stories that we wrap around our ideas about our own lives as well as the lives of others, and how those stories affect how we feel and what we think about other people. And if you think about it, the stories that we create in our own mind tend to cause all kinds of problems in terms of how we relate to other people. And it's just really fascinating when you look at how humans and how we all interact with each other, but we do it in a way that's sort of wrapped up in lies and stories that aren't even true anymore. And whenever we interact with someone, we're essentially lying to them, because what we're doing is, especially if we meet someone for the first time and we want to make a good impression on them, like we're going for a job interview, or if we're going for going on a date for the first time, or meeting someone important, or just meeting someone who you're not really interested in, but you sort of have to because of the situation that's at hand. And what we do a lot of the times is we project one sort of small slice of who we are, one small portion of our own personality into that first initial interaction with that person. Now, that interaction with that person could be a potential friend. Maybe you're a kid and you're meeting some new kids and you want to make friends, or you're in high school and you're trying to interact with some group that you want to be a part of, or whatever the case may be. But we're putting on a version of ourselves that at the very best is just a small slice of the pie that makes us up, or makes up us, I should say. But it's not really, in fact, who we are. And that's just how humans kind of are. I think that we tend to do that. And so what happens is that we project a certain version of ourselves, and maybe it's an intentional lie, or maybe it's not, but we project a certain version of ourselves during that initial interaction, and then the other person is doing the exact same thing. And so what happens is that we, as humans, like to carefully label and categorize people into these stories that we create about them in our own heads. And so we have this sort of play that we're all living in life, and we're actors, and we're the hero of our own story. And everybody else that we meet, whether they be husbands or wives or friends or family, are just essentially secondary characters in our play. And so I just find it really interesting that as soon as someone starts acting out of, I guess, more in alignment with who they really are, but it's out of congruence with the story that we've told ourselves about who they are, then we start becoming uncomfortable. And it's like a clay pot. You know, when you first make a clay mug or something like that, the clay is very malleable, it's soft, you can move it around, you can transform it. And essentially that's how people are. People are always changing, people are always dynamic, people are always learning and growing and being exposed to new ideas and new things. And once you create a story about someone, about who you think they are, then it solidifies them in your mind. And so you've got a nice, perfect little story that you've created about that person in your mind, but you don't really know them, because you don't really, you're not in their head, and they've never revealed all of themselves to you, and vice versa. So now you have these two characters that are interacting with each other based on lies, and as soon as the other character starts to act in a way that's not in accordance with the story you've created about them in your own mind, then you start to get uncomfortable. You start to judge them. You start to label them. You start to put them in different boxes and different categories. You start to act weird around them. You start to gossip about them. You start to do all these things that your own morals and your own moral compass would tell you not to do. But because they're not acting the way you want them to act anymore, then you start doing all of these things. And then as a result of that, you beat your own self up because you know what you're doing is wrong, but you want to keep telling yourself that they are a certain way and you think of them as a certain way. I think of it all the time in situations like, with pastors or with, people who believe a certain religion or people who are maybe health nuts or health gurus. And we have this grandiose vision of who we think they are in our own heads. And if they don't live up to that, then we start judging them. But in actuality, that's only a small part of who they are. And they may have unconsciously or consciously decided to put that version of themselves out when they were putting themselves out on the internet, or they were giving a talk, or maybe they met you in person. And so I think there's a real danger with that, because whenever you create a story about someone, you're essentially solidifying them. Sort of like, I don't know if you ever saw that movie back in the 80s called Clash of the Titans, where there's Perseus and Pegasus and Medusa. And in the movie, I should say, I think his name was, I forget what his name, the main character in the movie, but if he ended up looking at Medusa in her eyes, she would turn whoever she looked at to stone. They would just turn to stone and crumble right there. And I think that's what happens, because stories are based on the past, and stories are based on ideologies and experiences and things that we've created in our own head long ago, and they're not malleable. They're not able to be adapted and changed, whereas people are constantly doing that. And so we like to feel comfortable, and we like to feel like people are acting the way we want them to act. And so that's why you have a lot of times where husbands and wives will say, I thought I knew you. Apparently I didn't know who you are. Or this person's changing so much, I don't even know you anymore. But that's not really the case, because that person has always been like that. It's just that you didn't give them the freedom to add a little bit of water to their mug they've created, and to be able to be adapted and changed and mold according to their life. So you've kind of causing someone to act in a certain way because they only feel comfortable around you based on what they think you're going to say about them or the judgments that you're going to give to them. And so I find people, interact with each other based on these lies and based on these stories. And I think it's imperative that we allow people to change and grow, and allow people to have the freedom to have new ideas and express themselves in new ways and be able to do things that wouldn't surprise us, because we're all human, we all change, and none of us are going to always stay the same. We're always learning new things, always being exposed to new things. And so the more you allow someone to, in your life, especially someone that you care about, the freedom to grow and the freedom to change and the freedom to change their ideas and their minds about certain things, the more, I guess, stronger of a relationship you'll have with them, because they'll feel comfortable and they'll feel able to share with you new ideas and new desires or feelings or whatever it is that they have going on in their life. They'll be able to share that with you and know that you're also someone who is adaptable, and you're someone who's changing in your life too. And so, don't get locked up in creating a story of someone else that is easily categorized and nice and organized and labeled and put in a little box where the person feels constricted because they can't grow and grow their wings and decide to have different opinions about something. So be careful of that, because no one wants to feel like they're being squeezed into a box, into a tight little corner, and they can't go anywhere or do anything. You're going to find that people will start to move away from you and not want to hang out with you as much, because they realize that, it's not fun to be around someone like you because you're constantly judging them. So realize that we're all creating stories with other people, and allow people the grace to grow and to be who they are, and not judge them for that. And I think that would greatly enhance all of our relationships. I know it greatly enhanced mine, and I think it would be a huge thing for people to do, because we lock people into these stories, and we're all based on, or interacting with each other based on lies. And what kind of good relationship is going to come out of, interacting with someone based on lies? And so you have two people that are now lying to each other. It's just not going to be good. So if that resonates with you, please share this. I'd appreciate that. And thank you so much for listening. And if you like this type of information, please help Kate and I out by subscribing and leaving us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. We'd greatly appreciate that. All you have to do is go to iTunes and sign in. Head on over to the store and type Extreme Health Radio, all one word, to leave us a rating and review in iTunes. We'd greatly appreciate that. And don't miss out on any of our cutting-edge radio shows on natural healing with authors, scientists, and doctors that teach you cutting-edge natural healing protocols that are incredibly empowering. Also, if you'd like to grab our free gift to you called Lessons from the Miracle Doctors, written by John Barron, that sells for $20 on Amazon, we'd love to give that to you for free just for signing up, and you'll get it immediately. It's got tons of natural healing protocols like how to do a coffee enema, how to make a green smoothie, how to do a castor oil pack, incredible tools to help you heal naturally in your life. So join the thousands of others who have already signed up for this newsletter.